Bell and Company.
Yes, it is another edition of the great show we do here on Intellectual Radio now. It is Bell and Company. I am the part of the company. I'm the Bell part. I'm Mario J. Bell. And sitting with me on the other side, if you can see on the camera for the video version on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, that's Miss Libby Tarters. Hey, Libby.
Hi.
We took a little bit of time off because I wasn't doing so good. I lost my voice. Can you believe that?
No,
Is that a
you always
surprise?
talk. You
I don't talk
shut
enough.
up.
How would I lose my voice? Anyway, yeah, I wasn't feeling so good for a week, but I did do the COVID test, so everybody didn't have to worry in the studio here and out in, wherever I'm going to meet out in the fandom land. It wasn't COVID. I did double check that. I took 2 just to make sure.
Okay.
So, and there's a new strain out, like a really strong one, like R Alpha or something they're calling it. It's like a nickname. They have a funny name to it. And it's supposedly hitting people pretty hard, but you don't die from this one either. They're saying it's like it's that. Remember when they had like the 3rd version of COVID?
I took 3 vaccines, so I guess I'm good.
I'm afraid to take them, especially now, because now there's all new ones.
Yeah, well.
But anyway, so that's Miss Libby Tarters over here with me. She is here with me today, like always. I only like to do the show with Libby. I'm sorry, it's hard to do it by myself. You couldn't make it that one week.
Whoa. You have trouble talking to an audience? I don't believe that.
I like Libby being with me and my guest there, Andy. He just went off on a rant. I know you have one yourself, but man, he didn't like a certain whole group of people.
Oh, yeah, that was
religious groups, movie studio execs. I mean, he was just letting everybody have it. But interesting interview with him. He did talk a little bit about the entertainment industry and like influence of like the finance companies on everything. We did get into that.
Of course, it's always about money.
The big banks like the BlackRock, investment firms and all that. So we talked about that. And then he went off about and he didn't say the name of the group, which I thought was okay because I didn't really want to name a religious group.
That guy's off the hinge.
We all know that Andy's a fun guy. He's a fun guy, fun guy. Anyway, that's a stupid joke.
He's fungus for sure.
But no, he's all right. He's all right. And the reason that I had him on is because we were going to be discussing the movie industry, and I don't know why I didn't talk about this. He's doing his own little movie right now. He's working on like a movie about making movies and like film critics or something. It was weird. Like he's going up to people on the street and asking about movies.
And on the street,
whatever. That's his plan. But anyway, we really didn't get into that. He talked about it for maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then the rest of the time he was on his rant. So I like Libby here better than some of my guests I've had on.
Well, thank you. That's nice.
Yeah, I like doing the show with Libby.
Oh,
I think we have a camaraderie.
So
even better maybe than the pose on the previous show I did with Rebel Radio.
Oh, don't mention that, dude, please.
Yeah, you and the pose don't get along, do you?
No, we don't.
Is this a mascot war thing or something, Libby? Is that what it is? Why you two don't get along? One mascot fighting with another?
Yeah, I never got along with the guy. He's too arrogant.
Maybe to you, I never really had that problem. But anyway, so that was my other show, and I had a bunch of cool guests on there too. I'd like to get some of them on here on Intellectual Radio. They were in the music industry, but still cool. We had Weird Paul. You remember him?
Oh, you told me about the guy.
He's a lot like Weird Al Yankovic, but without the music. He does sing too.
Haircut.
Yeah, he's got the crazy look, but his is a bowl haircut from the 80s, not the long hair. But and I guess he knows Weird Al. Weird Paul knows Weird Al. So I want to get him on again. But yeah, I've done a few shows, outside of doing intellectual radio stuff, and always interesting guests, I guess is what I'm trying to tell everybody. Andy, I didn't know where he was going, even though I known him. I've known him for 10 years or however long it is.
My condolences.
I was like, at least Livy, I kind of know what you're going to say. Yeah. In fact, right now, for people watching the video, either on, some of the socials, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it's at, you can see Livy holding up her protest flag.
Yes.
Yeah. What does it say again on it?
Stop all wars.
So I guess we'll start off with that. You kind of, speaking of rants, like I said, Andy did the whole show. You don't need to do the whole hour about ranting, but you definitely feel like this is something that we need to stop everywhere, not just the Middle East, not just Ukraine. Yes. You don't think we should be doing anything outside of the USA's borders, right?
No, we should not be getting involved with anybody else's business.
If we're not protecting Puerto Rico, Alaska, what are some of the other islands that we're like owning? The Galapagos, no, not, what is it? I forget. Near Hawaii, and then Hawaii, of course. But if it's not those areas and Puerto Rico, you don't want to have anything to do with it, right?
No, I mean, we can help the other, countries, but we don't have to fund wars and terrorism.
Well, What do you mean? If we're helping the countries or giving them aid, that usually goes to whatever kind of conflict they're in.
Well, it should not. That should not be. I mean,
well, so your sign right now that you're waving is you basically agree with a lot of the protesters, but you really feel it's appropriate for them to walk out of their own graduation ceremony? Like, that was one of the articles I want to bring up. Almost forgot. The University of Michigan here about a week or so ago, whenever they graduated, I think it was a week ago.
Well, let me ask you this question: was it appropriate on January 6th?
Well, wait a minute. That was a rally. Okay, I guess they went to the Capitol, but again, they didn't interrupt. Well, maybe they did. I guess is what you're telling me. They interrupted all.
They terrorized and tore down the whole Capitol building.
I guess
was that appropriate?
Somebody defecated in the Speaker of the House's desk or something,
yes.
right? Okay.
They stole their laptop and their mail.
But again, this is a private institution. They can protest out the door. They don't have to be in the ceremony.
Well, was it proper to protest in the Capitol building on January? So did you agree with that or not?
I guess I should say I don't agree with either one. How's that? Does that make
I
you
don't
feel
agree
better,
with
Libby?
violence either.
But that wasn't a war. They're protesting the Middle East conflict, which has been going on, like you said, since
it's still a protest.
World War II.
They had a right to protest, but they didn't have a right to assault people, assault police officers, trample on people.
Who are you talking about?
The people on January 6th.
Oh, now you're back on the Capitol, right? Well, you really like to talk about that all the time, don't you?
Well,
but that wasn't a war. Your sign says "Stop all wars." So I thought you meant like
don't try to change the subject.
I am, because we're talking about what wars you're talking about. Stop.
I'm talking about wars. I'm talking about. You keep saying it's inappropriate for a graduation ceremony. I think it was inappropriate on January 6th.
Wait, you're not talking to the mic. What? Say it again.
Sorry.
Yeah, and for some reason you look like you're a little stiff there. Your arms are stiff from holding the flag, aren't they, Livy?
Yes.
But anyway, what was I saying?
You're saying graduation ceremonies is off limits, but going down to the Capitol and rioting and causing chaos and destroying the Capitol building, that's okay then?
No,
right?
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying that it's two separate situations.
It doesn't matter. It's still a protest. Is my point.
Okay, I guess they were at a rally for the president at the time, complaining about validating the votes,
which was all a lie, because
then they ended up going.
The fix is in. He's trying to rig it. Trump is trying to rig this election by hiring his family to run it.
So you want to stop all protests at the Capitol and all wars?
No, I don't. I want to stop the violence and the lying and the chaos.
Yeah. Of where though? That's what I'm trying to pin you down on. This is your
moment
moment to shine here, Livy. What are you specifically upset about?
There's no need for violence for the protest. There's no need for violence. If people are doing violence, then
I guess
not good.
What's worse, the protest or the war itself, right? I guess is what you're.
Yes, the war is worse than what the kids are doing in the graduation ceremony. Okay, well, they make a statement. That's fine. It's not hurting anybody. The government just don't want people to speak out about it.
What you're talking about right now, the stop all war stuff, everybody's been protesting in the Jerusalem Palestine stuff, where Israel is fighting with the Gaza Strip,
and
basically.
We're involved in it. We're funding terrorism and genocide, and that's not good.
Well, that's what you say, but I'm not 100% sure that's all true. I mean, I guess maybe the NSA or the funding to the Israel Defense Forces, whatever they call it,
we're giving money, we're giving weapons. Trump did the same thing. I don't care what you say. I was there in real time. I followed the news.
All the presidents in the last 50 years gave money to Israel.
Yes.
Since they started Israel.
So you can't be that dumb saying we're not giving them money and weapons, because we are, and all the presidents in my time has.
But again, I feel like it's okay for them to protest and defend themselves, the state of Israel and Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
I'm not saying
the whole.
I'm saying we don't have to be involved with it.
The whole populated area down there. Okay, well, the U.S. doesn't have to be involved with it. So when you say stop all wars, you want the U.S. to intervene to stop the wars?
Yes. I want us to pull out. I want to say, hey, make peace, do something. We can't go on like this anymore. But it's not happening that way.
The big one right now is
because it's all about money.
The big one right now, the big deal that everybody's been protesting on these campuses is obviously all the people that are being killed, innocent civilians being killed, like they're bombing hospitals in the Gaza Strip.
Yes.
That's what you're
and we're
really
funding
upset about.
that. We're funding that.
But
and
you know what? It's been happening again. They've been fighting with there was the 6-Day
I
War and all those
know.
other wars. This isn't the first time this has happened.
This war's been going on for eons since I was a child.
But now it's
I remember.
Hamas. Hamas decided in October to take how many ever hostages, 1,000 or whatever it was, and killed a bunch of them too.
Of
and
course.
They were Israeli citizens
I'm
and
not
Americans.
saying they're right
they're
either.
People from the U.S.
I'm not saying they're right either. U.S. got to stop funding these things. We just got to stop funding it.
So what do we do with, like, say, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, and even Egypt, or
we should not be given money
No,
and
Egypt.
weapons.
Egypt is in the way there. Rafah, they're about to bomb that border city between the Gaza Strip and Egypt. So that. I don't know if it happened yet. I don't think so as of today, but they're talking about it.
It's not good for us to get involved with it. It's just
okay. So let me ask you this: you don't mind the protests, even if you're walking out of your own ceremony as you're graduating after 4 years of hard work and you got that bachelor's degree, you don't mind that you're walking out of the ceremony to protest?
Well, that's their decision, their choice. They have a right to do it.
But again, when people go to do, even in the 60s, believe it or not, and people don't believe this, and they did it anyway, but they asked for permits, and obviously they were denied, especially in the South with all the race riot stuff. But they still tried to have an organized protest. They didn't just get up and walk out of a ceremony. I don't know. That's my thing on that. Is I just feel like, it was a little bit too much at this point.
It goes back to the example of January 6th.
Well, why do you block the doors at all the campuses so people who do want to go to school don't get to go? I mean, what's the point of that? Now you're hurting everybody.
Well,
you're doing more than making a point. Now you're disrupting people's lives. That's my thing about it.
Oh, look at the footage of January 6th and tell me that wasn't.
You always go back to that, no matter what, wherever we're at on the air and whatever conversation we have.
Because
you always talk about January 6th.
Because you always think it's the liberals and the leftists are always protesting. That's what irritates you. But when your right wingers do it, it's fine. No, they had a right to. Everybody has a right to protest in peace and all that, but no violence, none of that.
My point is that I think we can all protest, but in a way that's a little more organized and don't start violence and don't disrupt ceremonies or traffic.
Okay.
I mean, know beforehand that we're going to protest. I don't mind. Protest all you want, but can you kind of do it when you're not stopping traffic and
that's true. That's a little in traffic. No, because somebody can.
But you're
get
okay
killed,
with the ceremony, though. That's what I'm asking you. Putting you on the spot here today, Libby.
They have a right to do it. If they want to do it, fine. That's their choice.
Libby has spoken. That was our new segment. Well, we're not done. I got a couple more things.
As long as they didn't hurt anybody or kill a cop or start rioting, that's.
I don't think they did in the University of Michigan. But anyway, what are we calling this? Libby's out with, what'd you say? Louder with Libby, right?
Louder with Libby. I stole it from that Crowder, dude.
Yeah, we always like to make fun of other things, don't we, on this show? Everything is. Libby Tartars, everything. But anyway, it is a serious thing. I feel that, everybody can have their own opinions, but and everybody can protest, but I think we should do it a little more civil, organized way. I'm not saying I agreed with the January 6th events. I don't call it a riot. I call it a few people being idiots and causing somebody got shot. That's horrible. Actually, a couple people did. But again, they did plan it, though. They knew that the president was going to be there. The cops,
it was a planned insurrection, whether you believe it or not.
All right. Okay, fine. So obviously that's where we stand on. We don't agree on exactly what happened there.
Was it okay for the right wingers when COVID locked down and they went to the city hall in Michigan, harassing, shouting in the police officer's face, yelling at the police?
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Those are right wingers.
I don't even think that was.
But that's okay when they do it. Right?
Well, no, actually, I was really unhappy with that. People went to jail for that as well. That was not too long after the January 6th thing, I think.
Yeah, that was. It was when it was COVID lockdown. Trump was president. Yeah, and Trump was cheering him on, and they can do what they want, but no liberals.
Well, I think he was all over the place with his views on don't wear masks, don't take the vaccine, take the vaccine. He helped get the vaccines going, remember, with Johnson & Johnson and all that, which ended up killing people, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that ever was proven that it was really bad for people. But
Trump took the vaccine.
There's still there's another one coming out now, like I said a few minutes ago. I don't know if I'm ready to take a new booster for this. They don't even know what it is yet. So, but anyway, we got off. I digress. We're talking about stopping the wars. So you feel that we just no conflict. Forget about the U.S. troops being. You're kind of a Dr. Ron Paul and definitely a Senator Sanders supporter. Bernie
Yes,
Sanders,
I
call him
am.
Bernie Bros, because they both say let's just protect our borders. Forget about having troops because we have troops probably I don't know 500,000 troops across the world, whatever the number is. It's a huge number.
We have spent a lot of money on the military.
So you would want to get us out of Yemen. You want to get us out of Ukraine. You want to get us out of the Middle East.
Stop funding.
Get us out of Afghanistan.
Stop fighting.
Well, we already did get out of Afghanistan, but like permanently.
Yeah.
What about Iraq and Iran? What do we do with them?
We don't get involved. You can help the countries out, but you don't.
What about secret operatives like the CIA did in Afghanistan against Russia? Remember when we traded arms and stuff? Iran Contra thing. That was a different time, but it would happen to be they were involved. So
we should not be getting our nose in conflicts. It's just not.
What are we going to do with all the military if we don't need them across the world?
We don't need a big military. I don't believe in spending all that money. It's just a waste. And the veterans come home and they don't even take care of them. They just spit on them like they're.
Well, you keep battling this, but President Trump helped get more money for the veterans with the hospital and health benefits.
Yes, too bad. McCain and Bernie wrote that bill in 2014.
I'm not saying
and
that
Obama passed
it. He did it. He kind of made it happen.
He privatized it.
You said that you don't credit President Trump for getting us out of Afghanistan, but I think
he didn't, though.
I know it happened during the Biden administration a couple of years ago, but he started it off. That was his deal to get it done.
Yeah, well, he promised that.
He didn't want to leave all the arms behind. Let's talk about that. So you want to stop all wars. What do we do with all of the arms? I just was watching the movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage. It's old, but it still makes a pertinent point of we leave all of our, and he's selling it. That's how he makes money in this Lord of War, Dogs of War, whatever the name of the movie is with Nicolas Cage and Jared Leto. I actually really like it a lot. I just never remember the title. But anyway, he's reselling all those arms that we leave behind in all these war-torn countries to other, like the Afghan rebels and, people probably in Yemen, wherever he was selling to Russia. They had a lot of stuff he was selling to the Russians. I don't know why I thought they have their own weapons, but whatever. So what do we do with that? If we're going to stop all wars, what do we do with our soldiers? What do we do with all the equipment?
That's despicable. I mean, that's.
You didn't want us there in the first place. I know. I get it. But now that we're there.
I'm just thinking of Reagan in the early years when I was a kid and all the.
Well, he traded arms for hostages. Yeah. That's one thing he did.
Yeah.
But then denied it. He denied it.
Yeah. And it just.
But I don't know if you've ever watched Saturday Night Live. They had a great famous bit with Phil Hartman. And people might remember this a little older or seen reruns of Saturday Night Live. Phil Hartman's playing President Reagan and he's acting all goofy, like, because when he testified for the Iran Contra thing, he gave testimony.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. But in this show, they show him being kind of goofy and kind of confused. And then as soon as the little girl leaves the room, he's like, come on, let's go back to the thing. And then he's, we got to send him over here. We're going to do this. So obviously the joke of the bit on Saturday Night Live is that he did know. Yeah. They all know what's going on.
I think
they
so
act like
too.
Maybe they don't, diplomatic immunity or whatever they call it. No. What do they call that when you try to say you don't know something? You purposely don't tell them so they don't know. I forget what that's called.
I forget the name.
But that's what they're doing.
But
the truth is they do know. I'm sure all these leaders know what's going on.
Even Trump knew what he was doing. Come on.
But if you're not a fan of President Trump, are you, Libby?
I didn't like him in the 80s.
I don't take my predictions for being worth anything. I'm just a radio host, but I feel like I think we're going to have term 2 the way things are going. Well. But I don't know. Things could change. The rumor is there might be a new we're based in the Chicago area here, even though we can be seen everywhere. The studios are in the suburbs of Chicago, and they're having a big convention. The Democratic convention's coming up. So maybe they'll be talking about stopping the war. And you think there'll be big protests like the 60s?
Yeah,
remember the
probably.
68 convention?
Well, the mayor said that he's prepared. So
I haven't really heard much.
Yeah, I read that the other day. So
he's ready to deal with what? Any kind of violence?
Yeah, if something goes down, he said he was ready for that. So.
You know what's funny about this? You're still holding up your flag, but you know what? A lot of the campuses are done. Well, they're graduating, so now all the protests are disappearing. I thought they would just keep them, and keep going until maybe we do some kind of, sit down between Israel and the Palestinians or Hamas or whoever is running the side of the Gaza Strip people. I guess it's Hamas right now, I think. But anyway, you would think that the protesters would want to stay, just keep going. But it seems like a lot of them are leaving now. It's over. They're picking up and leaving the campuses. What's up with
Well,
that?
maybe the police, they have the police involved with that.
Well, I just thought it's because, okay, well, nobody's paying attention anymore. Move on to the next thing.
I was thinking that they were getting the police, like Kent State. You know?
But you're not giving up on it. You're going to be down. Where are you going to be? Down by the Democratic National Committee with your sign or what, Libby?
Yeah.
We got to get pictures
I'll
of you.
wear my riot gear.
We got to see pictures of you next to the presidential limousine with President Biden when he comes in.
I'm not a fan of Biden either. You know,
he usually comes in right at the end, though. He's not there for the whole thing. So you got to wait till the end.
Yeah.
I think it's like a week.
Can I throw an egg at him?
Yeah.
I don't like
I know
him.
you throw more than eggs at President Trump. I know you don't like him.
I don't like Biden either.
But
He's not my favorite.
anyway, so the point is, Libby's louder with Libby. I kind of like that. But now we're going to get sued by Steven Crowder. But anyway,
that guy's a jerk.
A segment on Bell and Company. It's not the name of the show. It's the name of her little segment, Mr. Steve. Anyway, so I think the bottom line is you are very much in favor of free speech and the First Amendment.
Yes.
No matter what it is, even if you're walking out of your college graduation.
Even stuff I don't agree with. If those pro-lifers can protest all they want because that's what they believe, and I'm not going to tell them.
They can stop people from going into the convention even in August. You're okay with that, or whenever? I think it's August.
Well, I hope there's no violence or anything. And
yeah, let's make clear. I don't want people like protesting the show. She's not saying everybody needs to get violent, start bringing guns and stuff and bats and starting to beat on people. You just feel like it's okay that they protest. And why are the police getting involved? You keep asking me what's going on. Why the police keep coming?
Well, my thing is the government doesn't like the protests. It's obvious. They want people to shut up about it.
Well, I was just going to end our wait, is it louder with Libby? Like Louder? Let's not make it the same as he spells it different, that guy. Anyway, so louder with Libby, but I want to say this. There's money. There's a lot of money involved with these situations with these governments. So you really think that the CIA and the FBI and whatever those secret operatives are called
they're getting paid. They're getting paid by the Israel lobby.
But no, what I'm saying is, you think we're going to if we stop going to all these conflicts and stop aiding these countries, what are we going to do with those organizations? Are they still going to be there?
I hope not. I hope. What do you mean, for the good or for the bad?
Hey, there's a lot of rumors what the NSA and the CIA and the FBI do. CIA is mostly overseas, FBI is here, but there's a lot of they supposedly start viruses on computers and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's rumored to be tied back to our government. So I don't know.
I don't like we're participating in these wars. That's what my beef is.
The bottom line is you're okay with getting rid of all of that.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay getting rid of these lobbyists, these war criminals, the MIC, and the lobbyists, the APAC.
What do you think about having those prisoners like Snowden and the other guy? What's the other guy? Assange. What do you think about those guys?
They should be not punished for their.
They had to stop the war signs, but they did a lot more. They were giving intelligence away.
Well, they're.
Oh, it got dark in here. Ooh, creepy.
They were. I don't think they should be locked up for telling the truth.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, well, I think that's enough for louder with Libby.
Yeah.
I like out loud with Libby. I don't know. We'll think about that. Maybe people can tell me. Do you like that segment? What do you want to call it? Let us know on Facebook. And by the way, I always forget to mention this everywhere where they can find us. I usually say at least one thing, but obviously IntellectualRadio.com, Intellectual Radio's YouTube page, the Facebook page for me, the Facebook page for Intellectual Radio, I share on there. And then my page is Mario J. Santaran. I don't like to say my full last name. But all you got to do.
Why do you think I'm Libby Tartars?
But all you got to do is type in Mario, initial J. So Mario J, Bell, and you'll find us. But I do have a fan page for the show. You can go there, comment on any videos you see, including this one. How do you feel about our segment? What do you want to call it? And that's actually called Motivation, Inspiration, Bell and Company. Because for some crazy reason, and I've asked a bunch of IT people, I think I even asked our owner here, why won't they let me change the name? I've changed it before. I've changed it twice before, but now this time they won't let me change it.
Maybe there's another Mario Bell. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but I don't even want to call it Mario J. Bell. I want to call it Bell. We lost our light in here. It's getting dark in here. It's Bell and Company.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Did you try to make a new page?
I want to change the name from Motivation Bell and Company to just Bell and Company.
Facebook is really goofy because I tried to change my bio the other day and they only let me use certain characters.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of weird what's going on. It's like I thought you would want us to promote because they sell ads on stuff. You know, there's a lot of ads that pop up on my stuff on my fan page and my regular page. So anyway, they can comment. What do they want to call this bit? I like Louder with Libby. I do like that.
So stole that from Crowder.
Weekly, I don't know what day we'll do it. We've been changing up here. We're normally supposed to be on Fridays and Sundays and maybe some Saturdays if we can make it. But we haven't been doing any of that. So we're going to get back to our schedule. But my point is we're trying to name that segment, and you can go to Motivation, Inspiration, Bell and Company to comment. So that was a long explanation for it, but I like people to be able to go there
out loud
because they might not find enough on IntellectualRadio.com. I still have to send all our info over there. They can have a nice little picture of us. So we'll do that. But anyway, so that was that segment. Moving on. We've got a lot we can talk about in the next 30 minutes. Is there something that's really bugging you before I get into the other topics? Are we done with out loud or louder with Libby?
You're just, what do you call it? It's a double standard.
You think so?
With you, yes. And with a lot of people.
Hippocrates, as you like to call it. Everybody's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, Libby Tartar's followers, you guys can be hypocrites a lot. You'll say that, that's a big one that you get mad at me for. I forget now. Put me on the spot on the air, but there's a lot of stuff. What happens? Like I'll say no new taxes, and you say, "Oh, we need more taxes and more government." Something silly like that.
No,
it's like you just want to disagree with me. I don't know, but anyway,
we need the rich 1%ers to start paying the taxes.
A lot of people say it, but honestly, maybe they don't pay personal income tax, but trust me, those corporations, even with all the tax cut, they pay. Did you
look at when Trump passed that tax cuts? He lowered the corporate tax rate to like 21%.
It helped a lot of small businesses too. Don't forget, not just corporations that gain.
Corporations want to take over the small business.
Man, I think we need to extend louder with Libby. Anyway, so you're just generally don't like to agree with me. Is that how it is, Libby?
No. I don't like to worship the 1%ers.
That I know. You don't have to tell me that.
Why do we have to bow down to them? Why are they so important?
You're hating on President Trump, but yet you say he's not a billionaire. So what's going on with that?
Supposedly he's broke, and he's asking for people.
So you can't hate on him. He's not the 1% anymore.
Well,
see,
I don't like.
Anyway.
Whoa! I don't like his character.
I know you don't like the man, the person, the attitude, the whole persona around the guy. It's not necessarily
he's a
his
showman.
Political beliefs. He's a what?
He's a showman.
You call him off the air. You call him a grifter. I'm not even exactly sure what a grifter is. But anyway.
Barman and Bailey was his favorite book.
Oh, and I mentioned this during the Louder with Libby segment. I think we're going to keep that. I like that. You could go to my Facebook page again. There's the whole video that I'm talking about. I mentioned the Lords of War movie, and it's called Lord of War with Nicolas Cage and Jared Leto. So you can go there.
How is that movie?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. But anyway.
When did that come out?
Right around, I want to say, after that recession when we had the burst of the IT bubble burst, so like early 2000s. Early 2000s.
2008.
But he was based in the movie was based in the 80s. They were talking about Afghanistan and stuff, and Russia was still Soviet Union and everything. So anyway, but this is we're totally switching subjects now. No more complaining. We're just talking now. Okay, Libby, you can calm down. I see your heart moving. You're moving right now. Look at that. Your heart's pumping. So anyway, this is a sad story, and this is what we were going to talk about. That's how I got into Andy. I forgot to mention this. Andy's big with the independent film producer community.
Oh, yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah,
self-fund everything. We don't need the 1%ers and the corporations and the Universals and all them. The Comcast, I'm not a fan of. They let me go at one point. Either. And I'm still fighting that from 10 years. Anyway, we'll move on. But yeah, he's all about independent producing. And and this is sad, but this guy was huge. Independent filmmaker and a big guy in Hollywood, a mentor to a lot of other producers. Roger Corman. Roger Corman, don't you, Libby? Well, he just died recently here at, and I didn't realize he was still alive, actually.
Me either. I thought he was dead.
Well, he just died, but he was 98.
Wow.
So he lived a good life. But for people who don't remember who he was, he's a man known as a trailblazer and I'm reading this from the article, a trailblazer in the independent filmmaking industry and a mentor to many who worked with him in films and on their own films over the years. He was from Santa Monica. That's where I guess he died just recently. And so he was always out. He stayed around the LA area, so people could still hang out with him, I guess, at parties. But he was known as the king of the Bs. In today's world, people don't know what a B movie is.
B movie, right?
Yeah, but a B movie is real simple. When you hear people doing their Netflix special and they made it for $5,000 or something, that's like that's like a B- movie.
Right. Yeah.
In other words, it's not a big studio budget.
Right. It's not
a studio. So anyway, he was like famous for doing that. I mean, that's what he did. He made a bunch of movies that had really small budgets. So some of them were, and now this is not the remake, this is the original, the black and white version, with guess who was in it?
Tom Dreesen?
No, the Joker. No, the Joker, Jack Nicholson. But I'm sure Tom Dreesen was hanging out with Sinatra and Roger Corman.
I have no idea.
Anyway, but anyway, yeah. So Corman is known for King of the Bees, like I said. He a bunch of low budget classes. Little Shop of Horrors, the original one from the 1960s. Attack of the Crab Monsters, which I have on DVD, believe it or not.
Funny.
Most people probably have it on VHS or something. And he also gave many Hollywood actors and producers their first break. I think he also worked with that other guy that was, I can't think of his name right now. They did Ed Wood. I think he worked with Ed Wood, or Ed Wood worked for him, or whatever. Because Ed Wood did a bunch of movies too. Well, he did a bunch of like horror movies that were like really weird. But anyway, he acknowledged the many constraints working on low budget films during this interview he did in 2007. It was a documentary he was doing. But he was talking about Val Lewton, the 1940s director of Cat People and other underground classics. He was talking about how it just was crazy how low of a budget they had, and they made things happen.
Yeah.
They just basically had to do a little more experimenting on how to make a shot work because they didn't necessarily have the special effects. They do it lighting instead of actual computers or whatever. They didn't even have computer stuff back then. So, but a lot of experimentation, a lot more creativity. And, if my only issue with independence is it seems like they never get the audio right, either the sound effects,
really? I never
the music,
that.
or even the mics themselves. They don't.
Well, it's on a low budget.
I know, but they should know how to do editing, and they call it Foley, for audio. But anyway,
that's true.
Corman, he had a career as a producer and director. And believe it or not, he started way back in the 50s, 1955, where he did those B movies. Another one that he did that's pretty famous is Bucket of Blood. And I bet you Andrew knows all these. Bloody Mama and Black Scorpion. He even hired filmmakers Ron Howard and James Cameron, and even Scorsese did some work with him back in the 60s.
Well, they're all old.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool that he worked with them, is the point. So Roger Corman was the influence. So anyway, Corman's B-movie directors were like giving minuscule budgets and often told to finish the films in as little as, and this is what's even funnier, less than a week. You got to turn it around in like 6 days, 5-6 days.
Yeah, you got to hustle that.
I mean, most films take a year or 8 months or whatever because they're filming on location. They got to do a bunch of post-production. They call it post, but like editing, audio, dubbing, all that stuff. They call them where they come back and they not makeups. I forget the term where they come back and do more. Like they'll just add in a scene, change the audio. That takes time. Well, not with him. 5 days. Yeah. That was his typical movie budget. Schedule.
That's crazy.
And obviously Ron Howard, he went to win plenty of awards and even a Best Director Oscar for A Beautiful Mind. He pleaded for extra half day to reshoot a scene back in 1977 for Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, that was his first film.
Yeah, that was one of the big ones. Well, I think it was his first directing debut because obviously he was in Happy Days and a bunch of other American Graffiti. He was in, not Corman.
He was Opie.
Yeah, it was Opie in the 60s. But anyway, this is his first big film that he did, Grand Theft Auto. And Corman told him, Ron, you can come back if you want, but nobody else will be here. So that was his view on get it done and done fast.
Exactly.
One and done. So that's pretty good. So this is an ode to him. I'm sure Andy will watch this video later and be upset because I know he liked this guy. But anyway, that was his style. Quick. A-list actor Jack Nicholson actually made his film debut, believe it or not, in a comedy that Roger Corman did in 1958. It was called The Crybaby Killer. I've never heard of that. And he basically stayed with the company, doing obviously biker and action films and writing and producing some of them. And then obviously Nicholson is most well known for the horror film from 1980, The Shining, but that wasn't Roger Corman.
No.
Anyway, so that
Roger was Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I know. So Roger Corman was a Midwesterner guy who's from Detroit, and he wasn't like an affluent guy in Beverly Hills either. He said when he attended Stanford University and when he earned a degree in engineering, he arrived there from the Navy and he was like, holy crap, now I got to get money to pay for all this, but the Army fund helped a little bit with him. So pretty cool. Army veteran.
Yeah.
B-list, horror movie icon producer, and I guess all around cheap, I guess.
Yeah.
He did the movies on the cheap. But again, for today's community, there's like YouTube shorts now. There's little reels and there's so much
TikToks,
to do. TikTok videos. You don't even have to do a full movie. You just go on your little camera and you make a nice little short in a small studio or something. Or I guess you could be like a lot of the skaters do the crazy effects, where they spin around and jump up and down, whatever they're going to do, jump off ramps and then edit it and do some effects. But you can do it it's amazing what you can do now. I mean, anybody can honestly be a B-movie producer now.
Yeah.
With all the technology we have.
I'm sure the corporations do not like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always liked being a host and being the what do you call it? The MC or the guy that's interviewing the actors, Never really wanted to be in movies. Maybe do some stand-up. What do you think, Libby? Should we take it on the road?
Yeah.
We have an opportunity to do it, actually. I'm a little scared.
Louder with Libby.
And we can make that
she can be loud routine. And yell at the audience.
Yeah, you could just yell out one-liners. You could be like the Libby Youngman, Henny Youngman Jr. Oh no, wait, that you'd have to be a boy. Anyway, Libby Henny Youngman. Or wait, who was another one-liners? I guess
Bob Hope.
Did Bob Hope do one-liners? I know Rodney Dangerfield did a bunch of them.
Libby Dangerfield.
Yeah, but like I don't think Lenny Bruce did. He was kind of dirty with his stuff.
He was edgy.
Yeah, but I think he told stories.
Yeah.
And swore a lot. I don't think he was
I saw
doing
that movie. I watched that movie.
But yeah, Bob Hope probably would be. You could be like Bob Hope on stage. We got to make you a nose. So okay, everybody can look forward to that. We'll probably at some point be doing. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of open mics I've been invited to, open mic nights, and I just feel like we need to prepare something. We don't just show up and be goofy, Maybe just the comedy of them looking at us standing on a stage, me and you together, maybe make people.
Well, like Andy Kaufman or something.
Oh man, he could just stand. Remember, and he jumped up and down.
The Mighty Mouse
and
song.
He did his "Here I come to save the day." I'm like, what?
Crazy.
Every time I watched it, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? But
he's making people laugh.
It was all planned.
Liked it. Yeah, he was really calculating.
So so we're not going to do movies with Roger Corman. We're going to do stand up like Andy Kaufman. But you know that that whole thing he did with David Letterman.
It was a stick.
When he went on there and he fought with the wrestler, I forget the wrestler's name.
Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler. Yeah. That was all. That wasn't. That was all an act.
He was all calculated. He had a stick down.
And he had his alter ego that actually kept
Tony
performing
Clifton.
after he died. Tony Clifton. But it was actually him.
Yeah.
For a long time, and then they had another guy do it.
Yeah.
I forget who the other guy's name is. The other comedian. But yeah, we could do something crazy like that. You think people would show up?
I don't know.
Well, I guess if it's an open mic night, they're already there, right?
Yeah.
So that's an option. So we are looking at possibly doing. I kind of like being in a studio behind a mic. I feel like I'm a, what do they call that when you're on Facebook warrior. I'm a radio warrior. I'll say and do stuff.
You want to hide that big nose from the audience.
Yeah, I'll do this right behind the mic. I'll hide like this. But man, you got me on stage. Now it's a different story. You can throw tomatoes at me.
Oh, I'd be glad to.
I don't know if oh yeah, right. The audience don't have to. Libby's gonna throw them at me. Are you gonna keep your protest sign while you're up there with me?
Yes. People have to know.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So we're looking at possibly doing taking it on the road. I mean, again, I don't just do radio. I got other things going on, so we have to plan that.
Well, of course.
Mr. Dreesen actually offered us to do something with them at the meet and greet. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe just show up and say hi to people. I'm assuming. I don't think he meant do a stand-up act.
Oh no,
but
Libby's not that funny. I mean, he's.
So yeah, it was.
I think he's hysterical.
We missed out on. I couldn't make it. It was actually on Saturday. this past week here on Saturday. I heard it was a great show and sold out. I think it was actually.
Yeah,
so good for him.
I had family stuff, so
because he likes to tell stories. He doesn't necessarily do one-liners like Libby's going to do.
right.
He'll tell a story and then
I've
have a
seen
great
him on
punchline.
Letterman and everything.
Yeah, he'll have a good punchline. And then, he's doing something. I mentioned it earlier briefly. He's doing something coming up at the Newberry Library. So I'll mention it again.
But Tim Reed.
That's more of them doing like a talk and recreating their act, I guess, from when they did it in the 60s together, I suppose. But yeah, the both of them are going to be at the Newberry Library in Chicago. So more plugs for Tom Dreesen. And I believe it's coming up this week. I don't have the day in front of me, but you can check. Just search Tom Dreesen Newberry Library. It'll pop up. And I always thought the Newberry Library was part of the Chicago Public Library, but it's not. It's like its own private thing. And it's got a bunch of collections of like rare books and antiques and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know they give speeches like that, but should be interesting. So check him out there. I hope to make that. That's this week. But it's, again, during the day job hours, so I'm not sure I'll make that one. Libby, can you go in honor of the show?
I don't know. I'll see what I'm doing then.
You can go and check it out, take some pictures. So anyway, so that's his act, but we were talking about comedy and stand-up. His is more, I would say, more formed out and rehearsed. I don't think he does a lot of improv.
Yeah.
I didn't get that impression.
Prepared, yeah.
Whereas today's comics, like if you see a Jim Brewer show, he's got an act. But if he hears something from the audience, he'll just go off script and just start making fun of stuff and talking with them and
make impressions
and do crazy impressions.
Yeah.
Like obviously Jim Brewer used to be on, for people who don't know, he's a comedian.
He
used to be on Saturday Night Live. He did the movie Half Baked with
Dave Chappelle.
And
I remember that movie.
And a couple other famous actors. Oh, Stephen Wright was on the couch. Remember Stephen Wright? But
Bob Saget was in it.
His act is he'll get off script and he'll just start interacting and arguing with the audience. But that seems to, what I'm getting at is that seems to be a thing, Libby. I think you'll like it because there's a comedian, Matt Rife, out there doing that. Like basically his whole act is working off of the crowd.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, and he's gotten in trouble for making some comments about women's rights or something. I haven't seen his act myself.
If it's in a joke is in a,
well, they say that if
it's a
canceled.
comedy. But if you're going on the corner shouting racial slurs and all that,
but they say that
about
he was
transsexual,
canceled,
that's not good.
Well, they say he was canceled, but he's still doing stuff. He's still doing shows, so I don't know But Bill Maher brings up a lot of things about all of this. Speaking of the comedians and Matt Rife being canceled, the whole woke thing and cancellation and how it got he almost. Maher must have been
Jerry Seinfeld.
Maybe he's not being sponsored by certain people anymore.
Oh, Bill
and he
has
can say
to
what
watch.
He really wants to say. I don't know.
Bill has to watch his mouth, though.
You think so? Because he's kind of like opened up about stuff you would never think he would say, like on the old show on
True,
ABC.
But he got fired for saying stuff about 9/11 on ABC.
True. Well, anyway, he brought up about again. He went off on an audience member with his new rules stuff. So he likes to do kind of improv. But yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. I don't know. I don't know what improv will come up with. You could just make fun of me.
Yeah.
You like to do that anyway.
Yeah, I do.
So anyway, so we're talking about Roger Corman doing stand-up. And then my other thing I wanted to bring up before we end today and go and have our next guest for our next show is we kind of touched on it already, the independent movie industry and how many are being released like just to Netflix. Or Hulu or wherever it is, or even Amazon does a lot.
They used to have a independent film channel.
Yeah, what happened to that?
I don't know because I used to watch it.
I think IFC's still out there.
I used to watch that all the time, and I enjoyed the movies.
It's not in your plan.
I don't remember. I got to look at on my plan.
That's the thing about streaming. People don't realize. It's great if you really truly only need one or two of them, but by the time you want to grab like the independent film channel, that's a great example. Yeah. Now you might as well go back with the Comcast and the dishes and the Astound or whatever they're all called, because they still have them bundled together. They're expensive.
Yeah.
But by the time you pay $30 for one, $40 for another, 20 for one, 10 for another,
that
adds up to the cable bill.
Yeah.
Because remember, even on these phone plans, you're still paying for some kind of internet plan, like extra speed or whatever it is. And with Comcast or Xfinity, as they call it in the Chicago area, at least,
I
think across the country for consumers, it's for independent households, it's Xfinity, still Comcast for business. But anyway, with Comcast, you pay for that internet, man. You want that 1,000 megabits per second, you're paying good money for that.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
The thing about it is there are a lot of ways, and this is what I want to bring up in the last time, and we'll do it now. There's a lot of ways to get yourself out there now. You don't necessarily need to go with Warner Brothers,
right,
or whatever they're called now, Discovery, Warner, or whatever. You don't have to be with, Disney.
Yes.
You don't have to be with, speaking of Comcast, Universal and Comcast.
Right, exactly. You can do it by yourself on your own.
Because Andy brought that up too. I mean, he's gotten a bunch of his stuff released. He actually sold VHS tapes.
To who?
Andy did.
Oh, he did make his own movies?
Make his own movie. Can you believe that?
Well, so there's some freaks out there that like him. So
he went right to the pavement. He pounded pavement, went to flea markets, did ads on the internet, but then sold the tape. He totally bypassed any studio.
Yeah.
So, but the beauty of that is, and I think I brought it up with like radio and the availability of all the stuff on radio. Like, look, we're IntellectualRadio.com. You could see us on any social media channel, basically, or still on iHeart at some point on iHeart, and also on IntellectualRadio.com. But look, we didn't have to go get approval from 20 executives at Disney.
Right. Exactly. They don't, but these corporations do not like freelance stuff.
Yeah, but look, it's a smaller operation, but we're doing big things. We didn't need the big studio to
exactly. That's what pisses them off. They think
let them be pissed.
Yeah,
they're
needed.
I wanted to bring up all the ways that you can find movies now. I mean, like I said, my friend Andy, and you heard his rant. Go back and watch still videos. You'll see what I'm talking about, his crazy rant. But it was interesting. I liked some of what he said. I just was a little worried he was going to say too much bad, and we were going to get canceled, quote unquote, from the government because he went off on some government stuff too. But anyway, there's a lot of ways to release these films now. I mean, there's all these independent film channel things. You don't even have to go to Comcast and get on some of those.
I wouldn't give them a dime anyway.
There's Hulu. There's Amazon Prime, but you can go. There's independent ways to get in, not with the big studio, because Amazon is releasing movies in like movie theaters too.
Yeah.
Like I said, Hulu. But what you could just do it on your own. You could sell it on your own channel now.
Yeah.
You can distribute it on your own. And I know people do buy movie theaters for premieres, but that's really pricey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another option. I guess
you have to have cash or loot for that.
That's more of a traditional route. But the point is, it's outside of the mainstream studio system, and that's what I think is cool. That today's technology has allowed so many people to do things that they would have never been able to do, say, even 15 years ago. Maybe even 5 years ago. When did social media really blow up? I guess with the Apple phone, right? iPhone.
I have no idea. I'm thinking of Facebook when it really.
Well, people had Blackberries, but I don't think we had the.
I don't own any device.
Well, no, but we had the the original before the iPhone and the iPad. There was the
BlackBerry,
iPod. We had a little podcaster thing.
Yeah, they don't make that anymore.
Well, no, you don't need it. You do it right off your phone. The iPhone has it.
Yeah, but
so anyway, the point is that things are readily available today,
right?
That wouldn't have been available, say, 5 years ago. To make your own budget, you can literally, and this is the point I wanted to make after we talk about Roger Corman. You can literally be Roger Corman today, and you don't need a movie theater. Of course,
just film it in your yard or something.
It's nice to rent out. No, I'm saying to distribute it, not to make it.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
I thought you meant like making it.
How
like,
you're making it? Yeah, well,
you can make it in your own house.
You still need a crew. Somebody's got to help you.
Yeah, that's true. Just hire a sound man
and play with the camera and the mics while he's doing his scene. So you still need a crew, but the point is you can make it with a lot less money now. I think is the bottom line on that. It's the industry to get distribution in the industry. Things are a lot more readily available. Like I said, you could do a YouTube film. We're on YouTube. You could just make an extended.
I've watched people's videos before.
Yeah, you can make YouTube films, and I think Google does distribute as well. I don't know if they're not like Amazon. I don't think they have their own film channel, do they? Do you know? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. But anyway, the point is, there's so many ways to get the word out there. Don't be afraid to go pick up your camera and get your crew and make your stuff. That's what I've always telling Andy. Just go do it. Don't make any excuses. Do it, because he already did. Like I said, he's already released films in the past. Crazy one.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got some weird stuff he's done. Like a lot of jokes about like cheap sex joke humor stuff. But those I think were shorts. I don't think those were full feature films. But you could literally make an 1.5-hour film now on a very low budget and distribute it, like I said, to all these places and be. I don't know if you're going to get as famous as Roger Corman or Martin Scorsese. Or name some big directors, Steven Spielberg. Yeah, but
Ron Howard.
Yeah, Ron Howard. We talked about Ron, but you definitely can. Make it happen. So I encourage everybody to get out there and create. If you don't want to do a show on radio, do film, make films. Whatever you got to do to get the word out. I'm waiting for Libby to do her protest film. When are you going to make one? Stop the war.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to.
I don't know. I put you on the spot.
You put me on the spot. I didn't even think about that.
I think you're already writing the script. You don't want the audience to know yet.
Yeah,
so,
it's a secret.
Yeah, but so anyway, so the point is, don't be afraid to get out there and just do it, make it happen. I mean, obviously, it's nice to go to film school, and I recommend it. Even if you go to the local, a lot of states have their local college or like an offshoot of the big university, like a community university, community college. Go get the basic training, but you can do it. You don't have to wait. So I know the Roger Corman thing, the article, R.I.P. Roger Corman, 98. It made me think about this. I wanted to bring that up. That don't be afraid to get out there and do it, because we only live once, and hopefully we live tomorrow. But you got to live for today, right?
Yes.
So anyway, so that's my little. What are we gonna call my thing? Bell's. I don't know. Rants with Bell. I don't know.
Ballless Bell.
Yeah, but no. No, I don't like that one. But anyway, that's
Bell's
my little,
balls.
I was on my soapbox there speaking. Bell of the ball. Is that what you just said?
Bell's ball.
Bells, but no. We're not doing anything with ringing bells.
Bell of the ball.
No balls. Anyway, so yeah, everybody should just get out there, do their thing. Don't be afraid to be creative. Because I want to be able to interview you here. Give me some content to talk about on the show, So anyway, I guess we can wrap it up a little early. We're going to set up for our next hour. That would normally be Fridays and Sundays, but today it's Sunday and Sunday. So we'll end today's show for the first hour. We'll be back with our next guest with a really cool band and speaking of getting it out there and marketing, this guy is who you want to hear from.
The Primal Moon guy?
Yes, Primal Moon, the one of the singers of Primal Moon. I think he's the lead singer. So we'll talk to him about it. And then we actually have a critic to talk about a bunch of shows coming up. Speaking of Tom Dreesen, he's coming Wednesday, but this guy, Richard, we're going to introduce him to this audience. He's got a ton of stuff.
He's an old friend.
So we'll have him on as well. So anyway, everybody, thanks for listening to this show, and we'll be back for another hour, another time here on Sunday. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Libby.